Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Bernard. Are you frustrated with your weight loss plan? Did you try to do exactly what they said in that YouTube video, but 2 months later, there's no results? Or are you trying to squeeze into that dress for this upcoming weekend's wedding and doing exactly what the beauty magazine says is putting all the wrong weight in all the wrong places? Those are the right places. Or are you just trying to get healthy and you're doing exactly what your friend's doing and he's getting results and you're not? Well, you're in luck, because today I'm going to give you 5 reasons why you should never copy someone else's weight loss plan. Reason number 5, you're not even the same person. Why would you think it'd be the same? I'm kind of kidding. Real reason number 5, you don't have the same amount of muscle mass that they do. Now, case in point, this guy doesn't have the same amount of muscle mass as this guy, who doesn't have the same muscle mass as this girl. Muscle as a tissue is extremely calorie hungry. In fact, inside each muscle cell, there's a high concentration of something called mitochondria, which serves as the muscle cell's powerhouse. It converts glucose, or sugar, which is what most of the food you eat ends up becoming, into mechanical energy so that you're able to flex. Now, if somebody has more muscle, which is more calorie hungry than you do, then they can get away with eating more, exercising less, and maybe still getting better results than you for weight loss. Reason number 4, you don't have the same hormone profile that they do. Hormones are chemicals that float around through your blood. The more hormone you have flowing through your blood, the stronger the signal is going to be. Now, hormones change in every person, even throughout the day. But as a less extreme example, your thyroid hormone, which is important in regulating metabolism, for instance, is low in the wintertime when it's cold outside and high when it's hot outside in the summertime. Even that variation within a person means that different people are going to have vastly different hormone profiles. You also, if you're 30 years old, don't have as much testosterone as you did when you were 15. And if you're a 15-year-old boy, you have much more testosterone than a 15-year-old girl. With the vastly different changes that happen inside even just one person's body when it comes to hormones, you can't expect to ever have the same kind of result as somebody else does, especially when hormones are such an important regulator of function in metabolism. Reason number 3, and this might be the easiest and most obvious one, is you don't train like they do. If you've been lifting weights for a few years now, do you remember the first few months when you started that every time you went to the gym, you could lift a heavier weight than the last time you were there? Bet it's not like that anymore. But somebody who spends 2 to 3 hours a day dancing for their exercises is going to have a very different result than somebody who sprints uphill for 1 hour a day for their exercise. In fact, when you go look at Olympic athletes, you can tell that the body types of different sports manifest themselves in the world's greatest athletes for that particular sport. Because remember, your body adapts to the training that you put on it. So if you train differently than somebody else, you can't expect that you'd be able to get the same result. Furthermore, other people are stronger than others. Somebody who can squat 500 pounds for 20 reps is going to have very different results than somebody who can barely squat 225 pounds for 5 reps. Reason number 2, you aren't as lean as they are. Now, this one I could rephrase to you have more visceral adiposity than they do. Okay, take for example this person who has a much higher body fat percentage than I do. He would be able to get away with not having to go to the gym and exercising and losing quite a bit of weight just by modifying his diet at first. I wouldn't be able to get away with that because for more than 10 years, I've already been training my body with exercise. So I wouldn't be able to lose any weight without exercising some, and he would be able to. Now, okay, there's a big difference in body fat percentage between me and him. But let's just say that he only had 2% body fat more than me. What would the difference then be? Well, it could be a big difference still, because he might have less insulin sensitivity than I do. That plays a big role in how his body would handle sugar. And don't forget, insulin is also a hormone. Going back to reason number 4, the hormone profiles will be different. And also because I would have more muscle mass than him, reason number 5, it would still yet be different. You can start to see that this is an interconnected system of events, which is really why you can't copy somebody else's weight loss plan. The final reason, and to me the most important one, is that your body is a dynamic system, and the weight loss plan that you follow must be evaluated and reassessed. My opinion, at least once a week. Remember when I talked about the athletes just previously, and I said that their body shapes and body types have adapted to the training that they've placed upon it? Well, most athletes know that adaptation is a main law of training, meaning that your body is going to react to the stimulus that you place on it. For example, you lift weights and you build muscle that way. Your body is reacting to the stimulus of lifting weights in the form of putting on additional muscle in order to handle the lifting of those weights. Similarly, a weight loss plan is also a stimulus that you put on your body. So what happens when you start a weight loss plan is that you start burning something called liver glycogen, which is the storage of sugar inside of your liver. When you start eliminating that sugar stored in your liver, it also eliminates water and sodium or salt. And then what happens is your body will then move on to the muscle storage of glycogen, which is stored sugar, and then follows water and salt. So that explains the water weight that you would lose in the initial phases of a diet. Following the burning of that, because you are now eating less, your caloric intake is down, and your activity is increased, you start to burn the stores of fat and convert those to glucose for the mitochondria in your muscle cells. That way, your body reacts to the weight loss plan in terms of burning fat, but that comes much later in the plan. Now, there's only one problem with this. When the stimulus becomes constant, your body stops adapting to it. Meaning throughout weight loss, you're going to have to make adjustments in order for your body to keep progressing in terms of weight loss. Now, keep in mind, you don't want to diet for too long. Your body only has so much fat before it starts to use the essential fat that it needs in order to function. So with that being said, somebody who has a higher body fat and who started at a different place for their weight loss plan might be able to ride out a certain part of their diet for a longer period of time. Whereas this guy, he could get away with not exercising for a few weeks. I would need to start exercising right off the bat. Eliminating some of his carbohydrates would help him lose a lot more weight, and it would maybe help me a little bit less. So he shouldn't be doing what I'm doing, and I shouldn't be doing what he does. And the reason he shouldn't be doing what I do, even though what I'm doing is much more intense, is because my body has already been trained to a certain extent and his hasn't. If he immediately jumps in and does what I do, then he's going to be more injury prone, he's going to be easier to burn out, and it's going to make it a very unpleasant situation for him. So much that when he rebounds out of the diet, it's going to be a catastrophic event. So I've given you 5 reasons why you should not copy somebody else's weight loss plan. So what can you do instead? There's 2 principles, in my opinion, when it comes to weight loss. The first one is always give yourself room for improvement. You remember when I mentioned your body adapts to the stimulus that you put on it. When you start a diet, start easy. Now, that doesn't mean include donuts and cookies and cake. You know what you should be doing on a diet. But what I mean by start off easy is that let's say you start with cardio for 30 minutes 3 times a week. When progress stops week over week and you stop losing weight on that plan, something simple that you could do is increase the cardio by 10 minutes each day that you're there. When you do that, you actually virtually increase by another day of cardio. You add another total 30 minutes of cardio to that entire week. This is only an example. Another thing that you could do is you could eliminate 50 grams of carbs overall throughout the week, and then reassess what happens after that one change is made. Don't make too many changes at once, because then it'll confound what worked and what didn't. That's the scientific method. And always make it easier for yourself to make those changes. Now, the second principle that you should follow is what people do in everyday life. Everything that we do in life is a marathon. The person who goes at 90% for 30 years goes so much further than somebody who goes at 110% for 5 years, burns out, never revisits that topic ever again. Set your diet up in a way that you can maintain it in some capacity afterwards. Now, I'm not saying that you should go hardcore for the next 16 years of your life, but be reasonable when it comes to your foods, and be reasonable with something that you know that you can manage yourself. Don't load up yourself with the most disgusting foods that you could find for 12 weeks and make it so unpleasant for yourself that this is an experience that you would never want to do ever again. So many people do that, and then they rebound out of the diet, and then people then conclude that the diet never worked for them, but actually it did. They just burned out because they made it so unpleasant for themselves. So those are the 5 reasons why you should never copy somebody else's weight loss plan, and 2 things that you can do about it, 2 rules that you should always follow. In my opinion, in clinical practice, I treat a lot of type 2 diabetes patients. The comorbidity to type 2 diabetes is obesity. Doctors are not trained in weight loss and exercise. We don't learn it in school. What's written in the guidelines is first-line treatment is non-pharmacologic therapy, which means if we can get away without using medicine, that's what we try for. The problem with type 2 diabetic patients is that the outcomes always keep getting worse for them. And this isn't everybody. Now, the dietitians I've always worked with in an inpatient setting, those people were always focused on how to nourish the patient while they were admitted into the hospital. Or in the more extreme setting in the intensive care unit, they would also be specialized in parenteral nutrition, meaning that this would be feeding somebody their vital nutrients through their veins because they were intubated, they were unable to eat. Even those people would not be qualified sometimes, in my opinion, for weight loss. In this video I made about how I lost 60 pounds in 16 weeks, I hired a coach and he helped monitor all of my progress. His name is Shelby Starnes. I'm not paid by him to make this video, by the way. This is all the things that I've picked up on my own and also in clinical practice. But in my opinion, you should hire a coach who has good results and outcomes from their clientele and has a lot of experience. No matter what, always ask questions as to why you're doing things and how they're going to help you, and always reassess every week where your direction in weight loss is going. Sometimes it's going to stop. But sometimes when it stops, in terms of the number on the scale, you might be looking better than you were the week before. There are so many different factors. Having a good coach watching you over your diet and making the adjustments as necessary is huge. I can't understate it. If you're really serious about it, hire a good weight loss coach. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave me a comment if you got any questions, or maybe you might disagree. Tell me why in the comment section below. Subscribe if you'd like to see more, but thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you in the next one. Adios, amigos.